The purpose of this video is to validate the warehouse block is functioning correctly as well as the supply chain block above it. So to do that, we're going to disable the random nature of the ASL input and the stow value, and we're just going to pick a value that is stocked on the ASL. We'll just say 98, and we'll set the stow to 1. And before we begin the simulation, we'll check some things out here. So 98, the quantity required, should be coming up, is 2. And 98 possesses a readiness driver of 1. So 2 and 1, I believe. And we'll look at a couple more things. The on-hand quantity starting out for 98 is 15. And we'll just make sure that all these columns, this column 4 is the quantity out column. So that's got a number there. I think that's left over from the last simulation. Yeah. So we'll check that again once we begin the simulation. Once we begin the simulation, everything should reinitialize and all those values should be 0. We'll check that out. So we're going to run a short simulation of 10 days. Okay, and ASL number 98, readiness driver of 1, quantity required of 2. Let's go ahead and check that one more time. 98, quantity required is 2, and then readiness driver one. Let's check see the values of quantity out. So reinitialized, I think it was 133 that was shown as 17 last time, so everything's 0 all the way down. Okay, so that's good. Now, because 98 has a readiness driver of 1, so that requisition should flow along this bottom track, and then once it gets here, it should be pulled down into the warehouse for evaluation. So there it goes, and there it goes here. So the on-hand quantity for 98 says 13. It's probably because it's already done this math here and already been updated even before it flows through. So original on-hand quantity was 15, quantity required is 2, new on-hand is 13. Our new on-hand is greater than the ROP. Let's see what the ROP is. 98. ROP is column 3, so 17. No, I'm sorry, 0 is the ROP. Okay. So that is true, and then our new on-hand quantity is a positive value, so that is true. So for this requisition, we'll see it just flow along this outside connector and then flow through here to represent being fulfilled, processed, and then met the customer's demand. Okay. All right. Next requisition 98 flows through the bottom track, comes in the warehouse. This time we should have an on-hand quantity of 13 beginning, -2, 11 here, still above the reorder point, still a positive value, so same routing. Okay, next one, 98, bottom track. This time should be 11 here, 9 here, same. We'll just let this run all the way down. 9, just check it out. Let's check some math here. 9 and 7, or 9 and 2, 7. Yes, yes. Okay, let's see where we're at. 3 and 2, 1. Okay, so we should get some change in here. This should change to no. Well, I don't know if this is going to change. I think it will on our next one to be a negative value. Okay, so they both changed to no. And what happened is 1 minus 2 is negative 1, which is less than 0, our reorder point. So we have a no here, and then we have a negative number, so that's a no here. So we'll have a no to this, a no to that, and that requisition will go out here. So we'll have a replenishment need that'll be rolled up into that original customer's requisition along with their original demand. And so we'll go over here and see if that's computed correctly. So the customer wanted 2 and got 0. In addition, we're below the reorder point. So let's see if this computes correctly. So we'll get the on-hand quantity of negative 1. I'm sorry. We are looking for 98. Yep, there it is. Negative 1. See, it hasn't read yet, so let's let it flow just a little more. Okay. So negative 1, or 17 minus negative 1 equals 18. And then that's the difference between the reorder point and the new on-hand balance. Let's just make sure that this is the accurate reorder point. Reorder point is column 2, so 17, so that is true. And then we have to match and see if there's anything already out before we make this new order. And we shouldn't have anything out because everything initialized, so the out value is 0. We'll double check that down here for line number 98. Okay, and this says 18 because it's already updated. So we'll just remember that and validate that with a couple more requisitions. So this number should be 18 as well. That is 18. So as it figures 18, it adds 18 over here, and then it updates over here for the next one to come through. So this value up here should be 18 as well, and it is. It's also got an RET value now of 1, so that when it does return from wholesale, it can process through the warehouse and update stocks. Let's see how the next requisition works. Pulled in, we still have no and no here. Went from negative 1, 2 more required, so negative 3 on hand. Let's see that that's been updated for the next one to come through. Negative 3 on hand. And so this requisition, like the previous one, because it has 2 no's, it'll go on this top track, route through here, get a computation of what that new order should be. Okay, so let's check that out. That indeed is 98. This should be -3 for line number 98. It is. Reorder point is still 0. Or no, 17. I'm sorry. Requisition objective is 17. So the value is 20, and then we assess that against 18 that's already out. So the new order should be 2. And what we should find over here is 20. Because we already had 18 out, we have a new order out for 2, and so this should update to 20. Let's see if that happens. And that does happen to 20. And then this should be 20 for the next requisition. And one more. Still double no. And this I'm thinking probably should be another order simply for 2. Because we've already got the difference between the requisition objective and the current on hand captured. So let's take a look. New on hand was -5. 22 is the difference. Should be matched against 20, which it is, so the new order is 2. This should be updated to 22, line number 98. And it is. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video, and then I'll make another one really doing the same thing, but just to look at a different line number.